Hey, Wendy, it's Thursday.
Guess what time it is?
I think it must be time to take a breath. I need one. I
Oh,
think I think our ladies need one too.
I agree. Ladies, it's time to put your stuff down. It's time to just take a breath and let's just hang out for the next 30 minutes and just enjoy some company and maybe learn a couple of things. How's that?
It sounds good to me, Wendy. I think we've got a great topic today.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if everybody's going to be terribly thrilled. This is one of those things that we really all kind of struggle with, right?
And we
But you
do.
know what? I want to make sure that the ladies really understand what we're here for. We are here to provide clarity so that you can focus on building business, create margin in your life, and impact those around you. And today, we're going to do that by starting to talk about what do they see when they find you?
Oh my goodness, well, we've got some great statistics, Wendy, because this is something that we all need to pay attention to.
Exactly. Social media is like an obstacle course for new businesses, right? There's so much potential with social media, but it has its pitfalls. And I was doing some research and I was a little shocked about some of these statistics. And I thought, oh my stars. So, first thing, did you know that the average person spends about 145 minutes a day on social media?
I can believe it. Sometimes I wonder, how do people get anything done? I keep getting messages and notices and things popping up. I can't keep up with it.
Oh, exactly. 50% of the time we spend on our mobile phones is done using social media apps in 2020.
Wow.
Crazy, right? We don't even talk on them. 50% of the time we're on social media. That's just crazy. Okay, are you ready for this?
I
On
am.
Facebook, costs people an average of 2 hours and 24 minutes a day. That's what it costs us. That's what we are spending out of our day. 2 hours and 20. I want to know, how are they getting anything done?
I have no idea. I mean, I've got caught up in that rabbit trail more than once. And you start looking for one thing and it leads to another. And the next thing you know, you've got to find out something else. It's a great tool if you need to find out how to, or you want, I mean, I taught myself Excel on YouTube, but you know, every day, that's lost productivity. That's lost opportunity to connect with clients or to complete a project, lost opportunity all the way around. And then it's expensive. When you start adding up those dollars, that's expensive.
Yeah, I was afraid to do the whole 2 hours and 24 minutes a day times 365. I was afraid to do the math. So ladies, you can calculate that, but don't tell me because I don't want to know that that's part of my life I'm not going to get back. But you know what? It's interesting, however, that there's so many different social platforms. I can't even keep up with them, right? There's all this TikTok and chat, and I don't even know where they come up with some of these names. And there's all of this stuff. But for business, it can be very effective.
It sure can.
Or, as you mentioned, it could be kind of a time suck, right? It just sucks up all of your time and we're not connecting and building or connecting to for sales, relationships. I mean, there's some relationship building that can be done on social media if you are following some of the rules, if you will. But man, it is really tough. And I remember, okay, so I'm going to age myself just a smidge here, ladies. I remember doing business when there was no social media. Okay, I remember doing business when there was no websites. So that's how long I've been an entrepreneur. But I remember when we first started being able to use social media for business, and I thought, this is the great equalizer. Small businesses who don't have big advertising budget can now advertise, can now promote very inexpensively. However,
well, I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of that happening, Wendy. I see pictures at the beach. I see pictures in the mountains. I see pictures of food that we're eating. I guess that's great if you're promoting your restaurant or something, but it really is about social side of things. And a few platforms are really focused on the business side. And you really have to be careful which ones you want to use and where you want to spend your time, where you're cultivating business and where you are just cultivating your social activities. They all have a place. It's what do you want to use them for?
that's very good. And interesting, again, I crawled into a lot of those statistics, but one thing that I did really find fascinating as well is only 20% of those businesses who are marketing on social media find it has a positive effect on their work. 24%. So if it's really the great equalizer that anybody has access, anybody can build their reach and their connections, if it really is that, then why such a low percentage are really finding any positive effect on their work?
Well, probably, Wendy, they're like me. They think that they can just take off and do it on their own. But we really need to have, I believe, specialized help that can help us to ensure that we are attracting business and that we're showing, as you said, when we see our face, when we see who we are, that the message is very clear about what we want to deliver.
Well, Debra and I have been, a couple weeks ago, we talked about continuing education and how important it is for entrepreneurs to continuing to educate themselves. Well, last night, Debra and I had another opportunity. We took advantage of a LinkedIn training with Dawn Peachy from Peachy and Peachy, and it was an amazing opportunity because she actually sat down with us and pulled up our profile and looked at it and was able to give us practical advice on how to make some changes so that we utilize it for business, right, in the right way. And it got me thinking and realizing, how we appear on social media, what we post, what we comment or on, it impacts how the world sees us. When I was looking at my profile, I was like, if a complete stranger comes to my profile, this is all they know about me. It made me a little.
What I walked away with was sort of the same thing. What do I really want potential clients or prospects to look at that profile and see? And I don't know about anybody else, but it had been way too long since I had paid attention to it, to update it, make sure that it was current with today's marketplace, and that it really was a reflection of who I am and how I can help other people to improve their business results. So a lot of work. I've got a lot of work to do, Wendy.
Well, we both do.
Don't run and look at my profile yet, you guys. It's not quite ready for revealing, but we are working on it, Wendy, and that's the most important thing.
Absolutely, and I think you're right. What do I really want the clients to know? And because I've not been updating mine, and I used to teach social media to businesses. I used to teach them how to set up Facebook business pages and choose the right platforms. And I haven't kept up with mine either. And that really was shocking for me. And we want to make sure that when they find us, we're putting our best foot forward. We're making sure they are knowing what we do currently, and we are really saying who and what we are instead of just some gobbledygook, I guess. So today we want to talk about social media for business, and we want to give these wonderful ladies, these amazing opportunities, tips on deciding on what people, helping them understand what people will find when they look at them. You know, as an entrepreneur over time, it's very important to make sure we are maximizing our effort and being effective.
So true.
That's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. And, you know, Wendie, I would just say this kind of as a starting point from it. You know, you really need to have an expert take a look and help you through it. Sure, there's some things that you can learn on your own and get done, but you use that investment into your business, you'll get the better impact from it and be able to see better results from engaging an expert. Now, you talked about you used to teach this, but a lot has changed, Wendie.
Oh, yes. That's why I say I used to. I don't anymore because I'm not up to date.
And that's why you need to have somebody who can walk through it and help you to do that. So this comes along with educating and continuing to improve, investing into your brain power and into your brand power by having the right people give you directions towards it. So to me, that's a bonus tip for today is invest into it because it's time well spent.
Oh, absolutely.
And money well spent.
Oh, absolutely. It was very well spent last night. You know, we worked all day and then we worked on this in the evening, but it was worth the investment of our time and resources. So our first thing that we want to really there are so many do's and don'ts on social media, but the first thing that I want to talk about is making sure our first point is complete and update your social pages and profiles. Making sure they're completed. Every piece is completed. Making sure that the information is current. Because you know what? It is true what they say. First impressions are so important. And they're the ones that last. So if they come to your profile and the first impression is it's not complete, your picture, you know, is unprofessional,
or old.
That's just or old. Yeah, I love those. You know, it's a picture of me and you know when I was 25 years old, and you know that's. They wouldn't recognize me if I walked in the room. You know, you need to make sure you have professional headshots done, if not every year, at least every other year. It's an opportunity to just kind of keep you top of mind as well and keep those updated. Shows that you're kind of fresh and current. You know, take a few minutes to thoroughly fill out each of your profile information. Make sure you're including your contact information. So not only do you want a current photo, you want a good quality photo. Have you ever looked up somebody and you're thinking this is a CEO of a multi-million-dollar business and their picture is all grainy and you think, well, they can't do that well if they can't afford to have a professional picture done, right? And so again, it's that first impression. We want to make sure that that's what we are giving. And it's important. So start there. That's number one.
All right. Well, number two is, you know, right up our alleys. It's about, you have to market, but you can't do it without a strategy. And so if you haven't looked at your strategy, you know, beyond your business plan, that gives you that roadmap to success. But a social media strategy is also important. And so if you don't have a strategy about what you do, a timeline, a schedule, topics that you want to update. Okay, are we taking notes? That you can maximize your strategy, then people are not going to connect with you. They don't hear from you. So it doesn't matter how great the results that you can give. If there's nobody there reading your content, then you're kind of in trouble. So Wendie, you had some great ideas around what strategies should include.
Well, first of all, again, it doesn't matter. I'm going to reiterate what Debra just said. It doesn't matter how great your content is if there's nobody there to read it, right? And so we can't control what the platforms allow people to see. Facebook's got these really crazy algorithms. They kind of all do. And who gets to see what? We don't have any control on that. But if we're consistently giving good content and building relationships, it's going to help. But let's talk about a few things. First of all, part of your strategy needs to be target audience. Which platform do you use? Because each platform has a different audience. If your target market is 18 to 25-year-olds, get off Facebook. They aren't there. They aren't there anymore. They've left. They've gone elsewhere. If your target is business leaders, you need to be on LinkedIn. That's the platform that they use. That's where you will connect with them. So the first thing is you have to know who your target audience is and which platform do they use the most. Content schedules. You have to have consistency, which means you need to schedule your content. And there's a lot of tools out there. There's a lot of things that can help you, but you need to schedule that, because remember, you're creating a conversation, you're creating a relationship. So your social media strategy needs to be around, are you talking about what you want to talk about? Are you sharing the information that's going to help them do business with you? Communication tactics. Okay, you've got to understand the best way to communicate. Is it through a video? Is it through an article? Is it through a picture? And if it's a picture, what kind of picture? We just had, was it last week? I think it was. We had a forum on our graphics and messaging we're using for our upcoming international conference. And it was so interesting that they showed us, I think it was 5 different graphics, and wanted to know which one resonated with us, which one would make us click on that. So that's that communication tactics. You need to understand what they're looking for and what they'll click on. Then you need to be able to measure. A metric tool management, right? Hootsuite, there's all kinds of different platforms. We're not really going to go into that, but you need to be able to measure your results. If you don't measure them, then you don't know if it's working. It's a time investment. You have to invest the time. You have to budget for that. It is a time investment. And the question you're going to want to ask, is it going to be your time or someone else's that you're going to pay? But I assure you, your time will cost, whether it's yours or you're going to pay somebody else.
And Wendie, I think that's such a smart comment, because there are a number of really excellent people who can be in charge of your social media that you work alongside of. And you have to make a decision. What do you employ someone to help you in that area? Or is it something that you really can do on your own? And depending on the complexities of your business or your messaging, it may make sense to hire somebody to do that for you.
But you don't hire out the strategy. The strategy must be yours, and you must think through that. You hire out the
support,
the doing of it. I know there's a great word for that, but I can't think of it. But for them to actually do that, but you have to create the strategy, and don't automate without thinking about it. You need to really kind of, be looking at that. Don't send the same post over all the networks, looking at the time. Your don't here is don't automate without thought.
Excellent.
Wow. Well, another talking point, I think we've just kind of jumped right through, right? A strategy. We want to make sure that we're updating our pages. Well, our third talking point today is be consistent and post regularly. Don't post today and not post until 5 months from now because you didn't show up. I tell people it's kind of like networking. When you belong to a chamber or a networking group, the way to get the best value is to go to meet people and be consistent. But if you only show up every once in a while, are you still in business? Are you still doing it? It creates some confusion. So you want to, how often should you engage? You want to be regular about that. And each platform has some different standards. You don't post on Facebook like you would on Twitter. You don't post on LinkedIn like you would in TikTok or one of those. So you want to know what the standards are for the platform and then be consistent. At least twice a week.
Yeah, I think, people need to know that you're there, that they're hearing from you, and that, when you have an event or other kinds of things, that now they're looking for what you're going to bring to the party so that they want to follow you as well.
And it's hard. We get it. You've got a business to run, and to make sure you're intentional and even posting on twice a week. But this comes back to also knowing where your market is. Choose one and do that well. Don't try and do all of them barely. So we talk about the do is posting regularly. All right, let's go to the other extreme. Don't be a spammer, right? Retweeting and liking and commenting and posting and sharing, all that stuff is great in moderation. Have you ever seen somebody who will share post after post after post after post? There's like 8 of them that show up and you're like, what? Right? So don't be a spammer. Nobody wants their social media feed to be filled up by a single account. Don't join 20 groups on LinkedIn and post the same thing, same promotional message in all of them. You're there to build a relationship, not just throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks.
Wow, really good points, Wendie. Just to remind everyone, you talked about completing and updating your social media pages, making sure that you have a strategy for your social media, and then making sure that you post regularly. I think these are just a few of the highlights about social media and how to use it. I think if we do these 3 things and do them well, that we have a good head start on that whole process.
Absolutely, because these are, in my opinion, the 3 top things we need to make sure. Now, yes, there are many do's and don'ts, and as you build your strategy, there are new do's and don'ts that you're going to want to think about, right? We've only got about 7 more minutes, 6 more minutes, or I would tell all kinds of stories of things that I've seen on social media, and unfortunately, even some things that I've done. But if you're a business, you also want to make sure that your personal profiles are not controversial. You need to walk your talk. And so be very careful, because it is that first impression. So ladies, if you've got more questions on this, if you are struggling, you don't have a strategy, and you would really like to talk about your marketing strategy, please schedule an appointment with Debra and I. If you're a Diamond member of the e-community, You get 30 minutes of coaching every month. We encourage you to sign up and schedule with us. We'd love to talk with you more about that. If you have questions, it's about building your plan, creating clarity, right? So we can focus on building margin in your business. Well, Deborah, we always come back to the most amazing source of information on how to do business. And so we're going to come back to some scriptures that we can lean into when we're going through this. And I'm going to go ahead and start with Romans, Deborah. Romans 12:9. Let love be genuine. Abhor what is evil. Hold fast to what is good. That's a principle that if we stick to that and nothing else in our social media, we've already stepped above the game.
Yeah, because we really don't have to inflate who we are. We don't have to try to be something beyond how God has created us to be, and to give us the tools and skills that we need to serve in the marketplace for his glory. So, really being genuine is an important piece to do. And I know we can get caught up with, I have to sound better than I am. Make sure that we talk about what is good and how to be genuine in our communication as well. And that really goes with Proverbs 10:9. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his way crooked will be found out. And there's nothing worse than having a bad reputation, especially on social media, where it can go viral and out into the marketplace. One person who calls you out on something that perhaps that if you overinflated it or weren't able to deliver, you can ruin your reputation much more quickly than you could establish it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, our third scripture that we're going to lean into today is Proverbs 12:22. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who act faithfully are his delight. We have to, as we said, be genuine, be authentic. And we also can't get caught up in the hoopla, in the arguments, in the negative. We can't get caught up in that. We have to lead with love. And our social media needs to reflect that as well. So we have to be careful, because once it's on the internet, I don't care what they tell you, it's there forever. And so we want to make sure that, those things don't come back and bite us down the road, right? And we want to make sure that we are walking in integrity and being authentic and showing God's love. And that means showing God's love out on social media as well. Kindness, grace, forgiveness.
Yeah, not getting caught up into useless arguments that really are not going to change anybody's mind. Well, Wendie, I just want to come back with this and say that, again, if you have a question about social media or any part of your business that you have a question about, that Wendie and I do make ourselves available to you for a free 30-minute coaching session. We really want to support you in your efforts to grow your business and to align your values and your faith so that you can live an authentic life, both in your business as well as in your personal life, and enjoying those two things together. So, Wendie, I think it's important that we let people know that we provide a holistic training and coaching approach that's really based on these core principles that we find in the Bible. But we're able to take those things that we offer and really customize them to their needs, as we are in our e-community of kingdom business, biblical entrepreneurs that are all around the world that are striving as well to create businesses of integrity that honor God. So we want to make sure that we're in alignment with our faith and our values. And so our tools and processes are really designed to help move that business forward so that you achieve results that fits into your business. We're not a cookie cutter, but we help you to take those, customize them, and grow the business that you long to build. Wow, Wendie, this has been exciting. And I know we've got some new things coming up as well in the coming weeks. I can't wait to share them with these ladies.
Absolutely. We have our forum coming up in a couple of weeks. I think we'll talk about that a little bit next week because it's on, dominating your industry, how to lead in your industry. And so, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but go to our website under events and check out our forum. For our e-community members, this event is free, and this is going to be really, really amazing. We're going to have some breakout rooms. We're going to have some amazing speakers. So go check that out on the NehemiahEcommunity.com under events for the forum. Well, ladies, our time is up. It is time to get back to work. Our take a breath is over, but we want you to always remember, look to the Lord and his strength. Seek his face always. 1 Corinthians 16:11. Y'all have a blessed week, and we will see you next Thursday.
All right, everybody, have a great weekend. See you next week.
Bye-bye.